Next topic. BMS monitoring and control of AHU components and sensors. Alright, now, buckle up and drop that Impala to ride height, cause JJ da boss is pullin' up with the compressed air supercharger thumpin' and them airbagged corners sittin' like royalty. I got my 4 Chicas ride-in shotgun, each one wired into this BMS drag strip system we call an air handling unit, AHU, and we gon' break this thing down like we tearin' down a race motor, ya heard? The setup, the supercharged Lowrider AHU. We ain't talkin' no ordinary AC box, nah, we're talkin' a chrome-plated, air-slammed AHU with that BMS, building management system, tuned tighter than a nitrous purge. Picture this bad boy as a compressed air supercharger system. Air gets sucked in, cooled, filtered, and pushed out like we launching from the tree at a heads-up shootout. Inside our compressed air supercharger Impala, Chica 1, Valentina, she's right in front left fender, workin' the inlet and outlet dampers like flippin' parachutes after a pass. Chica 2, Maria, in the back left seat, holdin' it down on filters and fan monitoring. Chica 3, Sophia, front right, monitorin' that cooling coil valve, ready to dial in chilled water like a meth injection system. Chica 4, Lisette, back right seat, runnin' all them sensors, from temp to CO2, like she's keepin' tabs on track traction conditions. Damper control, open or modulate, baby. Valentina's got the damper actuators on lockdown. She calls out, open/close or modulate. Just like throwin' a switch on a trans brake, either wide open throttle, what, or nothin' at all. Open/close equals digital signal, just like on/off nitrous. Modulating equals analog signal, like featherin' throttle through the 60 feet cone. Fresh air only. Use them digital flips. Recirc air? Go modulate like tunin' for weather changes at the track. Filters and fan, dirty air slows the pass. Maria's got her eyes on the pre-filter and bag filter like she's spotting bald slicks. She uses air differential pressure, DP, switches, letting you know when airflow drops like a busted blower belt. Low DP? Clean like fresh rubber. High DP? Dirty like mud. Out plugs time to pit and clean em. Fan monitoring also uses DP. Gotta prove that airflow or you ain't making that clean pass. And yes, it's digital again, no guessin' when that fan belt breaks, it screams like a loose converter bolt. Chilled water control, boost pressure in liquid form. Now Sophia, oh, she runnin' cooling coil control like a nitrous progressive controller. Her valves? They got actuators too. Again, we got open/close versus modulating. Open/close equals digital like all or nothing nitrous hit. Modulating equals analog like tunin' fuel with a Holly sniper system, all based on precision PID control. More chilled water equals more cold air equals more horsepower feelin' in the building. Sensor zone, Lisette's data shack in the trunk. Lisette's got all the sensors right in deep in that Impala, duct temp sensors, like read and EGTs on the headers. Humidity sensors, like track and dew point on a humid night race. CO2 sensors, making sure y'all breathin' better than exhaust fumes at the line. Water temp sensors, on the CHW supply and return lines, just like check-in inlet/outlet temps on a radiator after a burnout. She places precise, too, fresh air duct, before that air even gets touched. Post filter, so you know the filters are still letting it rip. After cooling coil, that's your power gain zone right after cooling, right before blast off. Supply duct, final check before air hits the crew pit. Outlet damper, confirming airflow leaves like a clean pass through the traps. Final thoughts, tuning ain't optional if you ain't monitorin' your AHU with BMS like we do this Impala build, then partner you runnin' blind. Each Chica got her system tight, and that's how we roll. Valentina tunes the dampers like launch control. Maria sniffs filters like old race fuel. Sophia chillin' with liquid boost. And Lisette, well, she's the real-time telemetry queen. So don't just cruise, supercharge your smarts, slap in that BMS system, and ride smooth, cold, and clean. Now hit that like, subscribe, and throw us a comment if your AHU's got more drama than a no-prep grudge match. JJ Dub Boss, out. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, the BMS air handling unit chaos ride. Once upon a swirl of peppermint clouds and strange circuits, little Alice tumbled not down a rabbit hole this time but straight through a duct vent into a noisy, whirling place called Wonderland BMS Central. This wasn't any ordinary tea party, it was an air handling unit, AHU, gone mad, and every creature in Wonderland had a job to keep the air cool, clean, and just the right amount of bonkers. I'm late for the airflow rate, cried the white rabbit. Alice landed right next to the inlet damper. The white rabbit, holding a wrench instead of a watch, was hopping frantically. The dampers must open or close, he shouted. Or maybe modulate just a little. 0 to 100%, but never 101%, or the Queen will shout. He had two buttons, open/close, like on/off switches, digital, modulating, for smooth sliding analog. In fresh air units, puffed the rabbit, we just flip it. But recirculating air? We glide like butter on a toadstool. Dirty filters. Disgusting. Snorted the caterpillar. Up on a soggy mushroom filter pad sat the caterpillar, arms crossed, glaring at the pre-filter and bag filter. Differential pressure switches, darling, he sighed, blowing bubbles, they sniff for dirty filters. Too much pressure? That filter is more clogged than the Duchess's pepper pot. Maria the Dormouse yawned, flipping tiny levers on the fan. If the DP is high, the fan's belt might have snapped. Then no cool breeze for the Queen, and off with someone's head. Control valves and tea time tuning. Laughed the Mad Hatter. Inside the cooling coil sat the Mad Hatter, dunking sugar cubes into a mug labeled chilled water PID. Would you like it open/close, dear Alice? Or should we modulate it gently like we do time at this tea party? Sophia, standing on a floating saucer valve, added, modulating gives precision. We don't just pour chilled water, we drip it like mystery in a poem. Sensors. You mean spies? Grinned the Cheshire Cat. High above the duct sat the Cheshire Cat, only his eyes and sensors visible. Lisette runs this zone, he purred. She knows if the air is warm, cold, dry, wet, two people why, or perfect. She giggled, juggling, duct temp sensors, like thermometers stuck in spaghetti, humidity sensors, measuring how sweaty the walls feel, CO2 sensors, sniffing breath like tea steam, chilled water temp sensors, two sides, in and out like Wonderland logic. Who painted my ducts red? Screamed the Queen of Hearts. When Alice stumbled past the cooling coil, she ran into the Queen of Hearts, who was absolutely fuming. I want that air 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or off with her filter, whispered the King of Hearts, holding a tiny fan manual. Behind them, the playing cards painted the duct labels red, the Mock Turtle wept from over-humidified air, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum argued over analog versus digital control. The big picture, on a crooked scroll, with the griffin flapping overhead, Alice looked down at the 2D schematic map of the AHU laid out like a Wonderland racetrack. Every component from inlet dampers to the supply duct CO2 sensor was perfectly placed like characters at a chaotic banquet. And in the engine room, the Jabberwock was humming like a giant chilled water pump, bubbling, beware the DP switches, my dear. Alice's lesson. Alice stood atop a spinning fan blade and shouted, this is all BMS building mad system, I mean management system. The AHU isn't just air and cold, it's a tea party of control, pressure, and logic. Each creature plays a part to keep Wonderland breezy. She twirled in delight, her shoes clicking on the damp duct metal. And remember, modulate like the Mad Hatter, clean like the caterpillar, measure like Lisette, and never be late like the White Rabbit. Then she sipped a tiny cup labeled Monitor Me, and everything turned into graphs, gauges, and marshmallows. The end, or just the start of the HVAC adventure. Twinkle, twinkle, pressure switch, how I wonder why you glitch. Next topic. Number 48 N4 Tritium Niagara, machine learning, set up your PC as a station or supervisor. I'd now buckle up, cause JJ da Boss and the four Chicas Katrina, Rosalie, Donnabelle, and Karen Lee ride in dirty in the compressed air supercharger Impala, gonna break down how to turn your PC into a full-blown Niagara 4 station or supervisor. And we gon' use air suspension and boost pressure to explain it, cause that's how we learn around here, full throttle and detailed. Scene setup, the Impala build out. Picture this, we sit in the driveway of Chaos Lane Garage, fired up the candy painted 64 Impala with custom airbagged suspension, compressed air supercharger, and Niagara N4 machine learning blastin' logic like nitrous down the quarter mile. Katrina sittin' in the front passenger seat, she handles all logic flow and triggers like when to dump air or slam the rear. Rosalie back right seat, she's the air suspension controller, keepin' the ride smooth, levelin' it out even when your platform is out of sync. Donnabelle ride in back left, she the boost management chica, monitorin' those compressed air shots so your station don't bog or blow. Karen Lee in the driver's side back corner, queen of the failover systems, like when your station be mixin' 4.8 sauce with a 4.11 entree. And me? JJ's in the driver's seat, hollerin' y'all better plug in that license key and hold on, cause this ain't no basic install. Step 1, station without a controller, just like a boost test without the track. Think of setting up a Niagara 4 station on your PC like bench testing that airbag system with no road under you yet. No station hardware? No problem. You gon' use your PC like a test mule. But it gotta be Windows or Linux, not Mac. Macs like skinny tires on a drag strip, they ain't built for this race. JJ's rule, your PC needs a login password, that's your ignition key. No password. That's like running without a switch panel. So go set one. Step 2, station creation, airbag up that logic, go into platform view and hit new station, call it PC_station, make it a supervisor, not a controller. Just like using air to lift the body, this supervisor ain't riding solo, it manages other rides, controllers. Then hit up the station copier, and copy it over to your local host. That's like plumbing the airlines from tank to each airbag. Step 3, compressed air mishaps, mixing versions like wrong boost maps. Now this where Karen Lee jumps in yellin', JJ. You runnin' a 4.11 station on a 4.8 platform, that's like mixin' E85 with pump gas, boy. So what'd JJ do? Switch that Niagara service from version 4.8 to 4.11, like swapping ECUs to match your fuel map. Step 4, smart logic on the strip, Katrina wiring the brain. Katrina says, let's test logic without fryin' hardware. She drag and drops, a ramp block, like a throttle sweep, and an AND gate, like a nitrous arming logic. Soon as that signal hits the logic, the output flips. It's workin' just like if you had a full-blown station. You ain't gotta own a $2,000 controller to learn this game. Step 5, changing stations mid-run, Rosalie dumps air, wanna run multiple stations? Go ahead and create PC_station_1, stop other stations in the platform view, just like Rosalie dumping air from the rear bags to switch ride height mid-track. That's how Rosalie handles your station swaps without scrubbing the quarter panel. Step 6, trend overload, Donnabelle warns, yeah, you tryin' to load an IQ Vision station with trend drivers into a vanilla Niagara 4.11 setup. Donnabelle leans over the seat like, that's like hitting 30 psi of boost on a stock head gasket. We ain't built for that. And sure enough, yeah, get errors, no trend license, system don't respond right. But hey, it's all part of the ride, and that's how you learn, one blown gasket at a time. Final lap, setting up supervisor for real-time control. Now that your PC's dressed up with station wheels and logic hydraulics, it's time to discover your field stations via the Niagara network, pull 'em in like pit crew lining up race cars before the run. When your PC set up as a supervisor, it's like being race director and driver at the same time. You call the shots, monitor all systems, and adjust logic without ever opening a controller cabinet. JJ's final notes: don't worry if you mess up, JJ always shows the hiccups so you ain't just learnin' a clean edit. Each Chica in the Impala represents a critical part of your Niagara pit crew. This setup's like building a lowrider, one wire, one valve, one airline at a time. Now hit that subscribe, slap the like button, and remember, if you ain't runnin' air and logic together, you ain't cruisin', you just coastin'. Ready for the next lap? We'll be tuning auto start, backup configs, and maybe throw in a PX race dashboard. Till then. This JJ, the Chicas, and the compressed air supercharger Impala signin' off. 10-4. Let's air this ride out one more time with the right squad lineup. We're locking it in with JJ da Boss and the 4 Chicas riding dirty in the compressed air supercharger Impala, Leah G, Miriam McKay, Sky B, and the twins Tweedle Lady Z and Tweedle Sandra Z. You best believe each one's posted up in a seat with a job that keeps this Niagara 4 station running smoother than a slammed lowrider at golden hour. Scene: inside the supercharged Impala. Now peep the seating chart, cause position matters when we talking control, logic, and boosted setups. Leah G riding up front passenger side, breaking down signal logic and triggers like she's the high priestess of the platform view. Miriam McKay chillin' back right, air suspension queen, got your logic floatin' like your Impala at a show, all balanced and poised. Sky B tucked in back left, she's your boost whisperer, monitorin' Psy like a pit crew chief watchin' temps at the big end. The twins Tweedle Lady Z and Tweedle Sandra Z riding together in that wide back bench seat, tag team inversion mismatches, failovers, and logic confusion like it's a game of who wired it wrong. They don't miss nothin'. Me. JJ da Boss, behind the wheel with a station install runnin' through my veins like 120 psi in a chrome air tank, yellin', plug that license key in and pray your logic don't fold. Step 1, PC station equals bench test with no track. If you ain't got a controller yet, you still in the game. Think of this as testin' that air suspension with no wheels on. You usin' your PC like a dry run mule. Must be Windows or Linux. Mac. Nah dog. That's like tryin' to gap somebody with snow tires. Set a login password, that's your ignition switch. No password, no boot. No boot, no burnout. Step 2, create a station, fill the bags, open platform view. Go new station and name it, PC_station. Choose supervisor, not a controller. It's like your compressor, it don't hit switches, but it runs the whole air system. Copy that new station to localhost, that's you plumbing air from the tank to every airbag corner. Miriam McKay handles that airline hookup like a boss. Step 3, version confusion. The twins tag in, you accidentally try running a 4.11 station on a 4.8 platform. Uh-oh. The twins, Tweedle Lady Z and Tweedle Sandra Z, pop their heads up from the back seat and holler together, JJ. That's like pouring race gas in a lawn blower, incompatible and straight up dumb. So you go flip that Niagara service version to match, just like swapping ECUs to match a new tune. Step 4, smart logic. Leah lays it out. Leah G leans forward, slides her tablet out the glove box, and drops a ramp block, think, throttle sweep, and an N gate. That's nitrous armin logic. One signal hits, logic fires clean and simple. You just ran smart logic with zero hardware. All street smarts, no solder burns. Step 5, station swap. Sky B dips the back. You wanna test another config? Make a second one, PC_station_1. Sky B leans out the window, hits the rear left dump valve, and FSSSSHHHHH, there goes that air. Station off, new logic on, and just like that, you switch in out control systems like you change in wheels between rounds. Step 6, trend trouble. The twins double down. You try install an IQ Vision trend drivers into plain OL Niagara 4.11. The twins both yell from the back seat again, "That's 30 psi on a bone stock bottom end." Boom goes the logic. And boom goes your config. No trend license. No response. But it's all part of learnin'. Ain't no better teacher than a logic crash and burn. Final lap, supervisor mode. You in charge now that your PC's rollin' with air in the lines and logic on lock. Discover your stations across the Niagara network. Pull M into the platform like you lining cars up at the tree. Your PC's now the race director, callin' logic, monitorin' temps, and watchin' the pack from the tower. That's what being a supervisor is all about. JJ's pit notes, mess UPS. We show 'em all. No clean edit, just the real, the raw, and the ridiculous. Every Chicas got a role. Leah equals logic flow, Miriam equals suspension and balance, Sky B equals boost management, the twins equals version and failover commandos, just like building an airbag system, one solenoid, one line, one block at a time. So slam that like button like you hittin' air out at a cruise night, subscribe for more logic launches, and remember, if your station ain't aired up and your logic ain't boosted, you just coastin', homie. Next lap. Auto start, backups, and PX dashboards fresh enough to win best in show. This JJ, the Chicas, and the Twin Trouble Impala signin' off from the burnout box. Next topic. Alice's adventures in Niagara Land, the logic ride through Wonderland. Once upon a turbocharged Tuesday, Alice was chasing the white rabbit through a wiggly logic loop in her building system when boom, she fell straight into a shiny, chrome compressed air supercharger Impala. She screamed, as her skirt flipped up and logic blocks rained from the sky like jelly beans. Inside the Impala, behind the wheel, was none other than JJ da Boss, rockin' a racing crown and a license key hangin' from his neck like a gold chain. Welcome to Niagara Land, baby. Buckle up. These triggers fire fast. In the seats were 4 wild Chicas, Leah G, that's our logic princess, just like the White Queen but cooler, Miriam McKay, with air suspension smoother than a Cheshire cat smile, Sky B, blow and boost like the caterpillar blows smoke rings, and in the back, the twins Tweedledee Z and Tweedle Z, argin' just like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, shoutin' stuff like, "That's not the right version. It is to the right version. You updated the wrong controller." Meanwhile, the Mad Hatter was under the hood yellin', "Why is a logic gate like a teacup?" and throwin' spark plugs at the March Hare, who was duct taping mushrooms to the dashboard. Step 1, PC station equals tiny logic town. JJ leaned over to Alice and said, "Don't got a controller? No problem. Just use your PC. It's like a practice tea party before the real croquet match." Alice pushed buttons. Everything lit up. The dodo popped in and said, "Make sure it's Windows or Linux. Macs just spin in circles like the caucus race." Step 2, create a station, fill up the balloons. "New station name, PC_station, said JJ. "Do I name it Queen of Hearts?" Alice asked. "Only if you wanna lose your logic head," shouted the Queen, throwing a teacup across the lawn. Alice clicked supervisor, and Miriam McKay did her job, pressurized the whole Impala like it was gettin' ready to play croquet with flamingos. Step 3, version mayhem, here come the twins. Alice tried to load a 4.11 station on a 4.8 platform. Boom. Confetti logic exploded everywhere. Tweedledee Z and Tweedle Z stood up and shouted in stereo, "That's like feeding the Knave of Hearts cookies meant for the Queen. You gotta match the versions, girl." So Alice flipped the switch, and the King of Hearts clapped proudly from his tiny throne. Step 4, smart logic, the Cheshire block grin. Leah G pulled out a big pink mushroom tablet, winked like the Cheshire cat, and said, "We're dropping a ramp block and an AND gate." Alice blinked. "What does that do?" "Like arming the Jabberwocky with a jelly bean bazooka, it only fires when both buttons are pressed." Alice giggled. The dormouse squeaked, "ZZZ, just don't forget to test it." "ZZZ, Step 5, Station Swap. Sky B to the rescue. Sky B leaned out the back and whispered to the mock turtle, "Time to test a new station." She dumped the air like a croquet ball bouncing off a hedgehog, and Alice watched the old config puff away like caterpillar smoke. In came PC_station_1, smooth as a buttered toadstool. Step 6, Trend Trouble, twins on a rampage. Alice tried to install IQ Vision trend drivers into Niagara 4.11. Everything froze. The twins jumped up again, this time in flamingo hats, screamin', "That's like playin' chess on a soup tureen. It don't make sense." Even the executioner stepped in like, "Off with the config." Alice reset everything. Lesson learned. Final lap, Supervisor Alice, in charge. "Now you the boss," JJ grinned. "Call them stations into the platform. You're the queen of the logic track now." Alice waved to the playing cards, who saluted her, even the one still painting roses red. JJ's pit notes in Wonderland style: Leah equals logic like a clean teacup, Miriam equals air ride smoother than talking flowers, Sky B equals bustin' like the caterpillars, Hookah twins equals yell louder than the queen at trial. Alice drove off with the Impala floatin' high, the mock turtle singin', the griffin doin' the worm, and the whole Wonderland crowd shoutin', "Don't forget to eat me, drink me, and save your station files." JJ, Alice, and the Chicas out headed toward a dashboard dance party hosted by the unicorn with flamingo lasers and buttoned mushrooms. Let me know if you want the croquet minigame scene, the tea party logic failover, or how Alice rewires the Jabberwocky's logic node in the sequel, Alice's PX Dashboard Wonderland. Alright, buckle up. Here's your JJ the boss and the 4 Chicas in the compressed air supercharger Impala version of the Reflow for Niagara 4 intro, with juicy analogies, where everyone's got a seat and a job, airbagged suspension style, all while keeping it funny and detailed. Reflow for Niagara 4, PT1, the ultimate UI/UX ride. Intro with JJ and the Chicas. Yo. It's ya boy JJ the boss rollin' deep in the compressed air supercharger Impala, cruisin' through Niagara 4's newest hotness, Reflow 1.6. We got the whole squad on deck: Leah G front passenger seat, Logic Queen, the brains handling signal flow and setups like she's tuning airbags for the smoothest float. Miriam McKay back right, suspension boss, making sure every visual, every drag, every swipe feels butter smooth like a slammed Impala riding low on perfect sigh. Sky B back left, boost controller, monitoring data like she's watching boost pressure spikes, gotta keep everything steady or you risk blowing the whole system. The twins, Tweedle Lady Z and Tweedle Sandra Z wide backbench, tag team inversion mismatches, license hiccups, and failover drama like a double shot of compressed air, fast, loud, and hilarious. And me? I'm in the driver's seat, foot on the pedal, yelling, "Let's get this Reflow party started." Make sure your station's pumped up and ready to ride. Step 1, Installation. Pump up that station. First things first, Reflow needs Niagara 4.6 or later. We rockin' 4.11, so we're good, like an airbag system with full pressure, no leaks. You gotta drop that Reflow module right into your Niagara environment, like connecting your air compressor to the airbags, no shortcuts. Drag it into your modules folder, usually local C drive, then restart your workbench and station. That's like letting the airbags fill and the car settle before hitting the street. Heads up! Reflow rides on Niagara's security model, so no extra hoops for users, just plug and play. But if you're locked away in a network with no internet, some features like weather maps won't work, kinda like airbag leaks on a cold day. Gotta have good airflow for the full effect. Step 2, Opening Reflow. The dashboard ride begins. Jump into Workbench, open the palette, and find Mods Reflow, like pulling your boost controller out of the glove box. Drag it into your station's services. Now your Impala's dashboard's got some real firepower. When you're done, reboot again. Gotta give it time to spool up, like waiting for that supercharger whistle. Step 3, Theme Styling. Paint your ride. Head over to the Reflow config tab in your web browser. Trust me, Viewing it on web is smoother than backseat airbag adjustment. Set your title, subtitle, footer text. This is your custom paint job, your chrome trim, your candy colors. Colors. Primary, secondary, hover effects. Adjust to keep the look tight, like your Impala's flawless paint job shining under the sunset. You can check how it looks on desktop, tablet, or mobile. It's like seeing your Lowrider flex its stance on different streets. Everything scales perfectly, no weird gaps or blown tires. Step 4, add dashboard cards. Load the airbags with features. Now for the fun part, add cards like you add airbags to your Impala, history chart card, track temps or fan speeds like a boost gauge on your dash. Device summary, quick snapshot of your gear like checking your tire pressure before a run. Equipment list, monitor maintenance devices like knowing when your suspension needs a refill. Circle map, visualize locations kinda like GPS for your drag strip moves. HX view card, see detailed device views like peeking under the hood mid-race. Set card sizes, columns, titles. Customize your dashboard ride so it's clean, sleek, and ready to show off at the cruise. Step 5, license and network. Keep that air flowing. If your PC has internet, Reflow will auto-fetch the license. Think of it like auto-filling your air tanks. No net? Drop your license file manually in the Files folder, like topping off your compressor tank by hand. JJ's final pit stop. Reflow is like your Impala's airbag and supercharger combo. It makes your UI/UX ride smooth, responsive, and ready to roll without those annoying bumps or hiccups. Leah G keeps logic tight up front, Miriam McKay smooths out the ride in the rear right, Sky B keeps the boost in check back left, and the twins handle those pesky version and license troubles from the big bench seat like bosses. You want that smooth ride? Get Reflow set up right, tweak your dashboard cards, theme it up, and watch your smart building flex like a candy-painted lowrider. So slam that like button, hit subscribe, and remember, if your UI ain't smooth and your logic ain't boosted, you just cruisin' slow, homie. Next episode, we break down alarms, auto starts, and backup configs with more analogies and laughs from JJ and the Chicas. Ready to roll? This is JJ the Boss, Leah G, Miriam McKay, Sky B, and Tweedle Lady and Sandra Z signing off from the compressed air supercharger Impala. If you want, I can do the follow-up with alarms, backups, or throw in some turbocharged humor. What you think? Alright? Let's jump down this Wonderland rabbit hole with Alice's adventures in Niagara 4, Reflow edition, told in a way a first grader can giggle and learn, filled with Wonderland chaos, all the characters you love, and a sprinkle of that JJ the Boss vibe. Alice's wild ride in Niagara 4, Reflow and the compressed air supercharger Impala. Once upon a time, in a shiny, magical world called Niagara 4, Alice hopped into a cool, candy-painted Impala, but not just any car. This baby had compressed air superchargers and airbagged suspension that made it bounce smooth like a Cheshire cat's grin. Sitting right next to Alice was Leah G, the brainy front passenger. She's like the caterpillar, puffing out logic smoke rings, making sure the signals flow nice and easy. "We gotta get this smooth, Alice," she said, twisting a glowing mushroom like a joystick. In the back right seat was Miriam McKay, the white rabbit of suspension, always checking the airbags to keep the ride super low and floaty, never letting it bounce too hard. She glanced at her watch. "We're running on time, but we gotta keep the sigh just right or the ride's gonna be all wonky." On the back left was Sky B, the March hare of Boost, always watching the pressure, ready to shout "pump it up," or "whoa, slow down," like a wild tea party gone turbo. And oh, on the big backbench sat the mischievous twins Tweedle Lady Z and Tweedle Sandra Z. They were the Tweedledee and Tweedledum of version control and licenses. You put the wrong version in. It's like pouring tea in a shoe, they giggled, bumping air tanks and making silly faces. Alice laughed. "This is better than the Queen of Hearts croquet game with flamingos." Step 1, installing the magic reflow potion. The Impala needed a special potion called Reflow 1.6, but only if your Niagara was version 4.6 or newer. Like the Mad Hatter said, no old hats allowed. The station had to be fresh, or else the potion wouldn't work. Alice poured the potion by dragging it into the module's box, like pouring tea into a cup. "Restart the magic," said the Dormouse, "or the potion won't bubble. Heads up. If you're in a secret place with no internet, some magic tricks like weather maps won't show up. It's like the griffin losing his wings." Step 2. Opening the Reflow magic mirror. Alice clicked open her magic mirror, the workbench palette, and found the shimmering Mods Reflow box. Leah tapped it and it flew into the station services like a jolly dodo bringing news. "Restart the station," called the King of Hearts. "We need everything fresh and ready to play." Step 3. Paint your Wonderland ride. Now Alice got to pick the colors, the theme styling like painting roses red, but no need to worry about the gardeners this time. She picked blues as deep as the Cheshire Cat's eyes, and set the title like a royal banner at the Mad Tea Party. The Impala's paint sparkled differently on desktop, tablet, and even tiny mobile screens. It was a magical shapeshifter. Step 4. Add Wonderland cards to your dashboard. Alice laid out her cards on the table, not playing cards, but dashboard cards, history chart card, like the Mock Turtle story, showing how things changed over time. Device summary, like checking on the Knave of Hearts to see if he's behaving. Equipment list, keeping an eye on gadgets, like the Duchess's crazy kitchen. Circle map, showing places to visit, like the Dodo's racetrack. HX view card, peek under the hood, like the Queen inspecting her croquet mallet. She adjusted the sizes and positions, just like the Mad Hatter arranging his teacups, all perfect for the smartest smart building ever. Step 5. License and internet magic. If your Impala's got internet, the license flies in like Bill the Lizard on a mission. No internet? No problem. Just drop the license file like a thimble in a race, easy peasy. The big finish, JJ Da Boss's Wonderland race. Alice smiled as the Impala floated down the road, smooth and magical like a lowrider on clouds. Leah G the Caterpillar kept the Logic smoke rings perfect. Miriam McKay the White Rabbit made sure the suspension stayed low and smooth. Sky B the March Hare kept boost just right, and the Tweedle twins handled all the crazy version and license troubles from their bench like true Wonderland tricksters. Remember, Alice giggled, if your UI isn't smooth and your logic isn't boosted, you're just wandering in the Tulgey Wood. And with a blink, the Impala zoomed off toward new adventures. Alarms, auto starts, and backup magic waiting just around the bend. The end, or just the beginning of your Wonderland ride with JJ and the Chicas. Want me to spin the next part? Maybe the Queen of Hearts' crazy alarms or the Mad Hatter's backup plans? Just say the word.